Why actors should not fit into the mainstream. Strange title, eh? I'm going to tell you why they shouldn't fit into the mainstream and why you shouldn't either in order to be successful and fulfilled. To be or not to be, that is the question. Shakespeare. I don't care if you don't like William Shakespeare. I happen to be a very favorite fan of his, but I want you to listen to this because he was not in the mainstream. In fact, he was not accepted by everyone, okay? So, I'm going to read you just a little bit about him, all right? And I want you to absorb it, all right? Here we go. In Shakespeare's England, only men and boys populated the stage. Since women were barred from performing, lacking women actors, companies like the Lord Chamberlain's Men relied on boys to play female characters. These boys were taken as apprentices and taught the craft of acting. Many of Shakespeare's most challenging roles were written for boy actors, including Cleopatra in Antony and Cleopatra, Lady Macbeth in Macbeth, several Shakespeare's female characters like Rosalind, As You Like It, and Viola in The Twelfth Night, dressed up as young men. Now, let's just exit this for just a minute, okay? All right, good. What do you think about that? Only boys were allowed on stage at the Globe Theater. They formed a troupe. There was only a select few. Remember this, what I'm about to say. There was only a select few of people that were allowed, that were privileged to be in Shakespeare's troupe. Now here is another example of why famous actors and actresses should not fit into the mainstream in order to be, well, successful and fulfilled. Bette Davis. I don't know if you ever heard of her, okay? If you were born in this century, 21st century, ask your parents, ask your grandparents, ask one of your older friends of the family, and I'm sure that they will give recognition to this name. I'm going to read a little bit about her to you, okay? All right, here we go. Bette Davis, was known for her forceful and intense style of acting and gained a reputation as a perfectionist in her craft. She could be combative and confrontational with studio executives and film directors as well as with her co-stars, expecting the same high standard of performance and commitment to them as she expected from herself. Her forthright manner, idiosyncratic speech, and ubiquitous cigarette contributed. She had a way of holding a cigarette that was very unique, you know, if you ever watched any of her movies, basically. And she formed a public persona that, to this day, is imitated. Do you think that she fit into the mainstream? No, she didn't. She was a perfectionist, and she was confrontational with studio executives. She was herself. She was unique. She took some chances, it sounds like, right? Okay. She didn't withhold who she was. She showed who she was on the inside. Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp. You remember him? Of course you do. I'm sure you do. He is not one of the mainstream actors either. And you would say, David, he's all over the place. I know. That's social media. What I'm talking about is he never wanted to fit into the mainstream, and he did a very good job of it. Until this day, he still does that. Okay? Do you remember Edward Scissorhands? If you haven't, make sure you watch it. It's a wonderful, amazing movie. And he's made various other movies in the past that made him eclectic. It set him apart. Before Pirates of the Caribbean, he was an oddball, totally oddball. And he went along with it. And he wanted to be separate from Hollywood. And yet he was in Hollywood. He had different hairdos. He's Cherokee Indian, because that's where he gets his looks from and his hair. But he did his hair differently. He wore strange-looking clothes, sort of like Robin Williams, in a different way. Very eclectic, very dark, okay, personality about him. But that was his selling point, and he knew it, and he knows it to this day. He didn't want to fit into the mainstream. In fact, here's a little bit about his youth and how he started out. It may shock you. Johnny Depp spent his childhood, as most kids do, loving music. It was revealed that his uncle, playing a guitar in church, that first sparked his passion. At age 12, Depp finally convinced his mother to buy him a guitar when he showed an interest beyond just listening. By 13, he was part of a garage band, playing for small parties and even nightclubs that he would have to be snuck in due to his underage. He also dropped out of high school. I don't know if you knew that or not. He dropped out of high school, age 15, 16, because, and I'll tell you why, because the principal told him, of all things, the principal told him, you don't really belong in school. You don't really belong in school. I know he was a troublemaker, and so he suggested that he leave high school. This was the principal, okay? So Johnny Depp took that advice. Long story short, he lived under a bridge. He lived under a bridge because he loved his music so much. I don't know the backstory of that, but I do know he lived under a bridge. He admits this in Hollywood. And how he earned a living was selling pens, specialty items, like with a pen, okay, and it has the name of a company on it. So he would be selling marketing, okay, like a telemarketer over the phone. And that wasn't going too well for him. And one day, he thought about acting. He thought about acting, so he went to his friend, who was an actor, a struggling actor, and he said, you know what, I want to try this acting thing. And it was because he said, well, I want to eat. Talk about basic necessities. He wanted to act so he could eat. He didn't go to Juilliard. He didn't go to a prestigious school or work under Meisner or Stanislavski. He didn't do that. He was hungry, not only for food, but for what was inside him. Same thing as Bette Davis, same thing as Shakespeare. He wanted to use what was inside him and not fit into the mainstream. Because the mainstream of students at the time, at his high school, were graduating, right? Exactly. A famous actor and singer that never fit into the mainstream was the name Frank Sinatra. Have you ever heard of Frank Sinatra? If you haven't, most people have, but again, I don't know what generation I'm speaking to right now. You could be in your 20s, and who's Frank Sinatra? I don't know. Look him up or ask your parents. Ask your grandparents, they'll tell you. Frank Sinatra was an Italian immigrant born in Hoboken, New Jersey. His parents owned a tavern. He loved music so much that he would help out at the tavern after school and play the piano. And he would earn some extra change. He loved music. That was his spark of life. He also became a well-known actor. He wore different hats, sort of like I'm wearing a fedora, okay? He loved hats. That was very unique about him. That was one of his signature trademarks. He never fit into the mainstream either. Even though he was very well known, he did it his way, okay? That's a song, by the way. He sings it better. But the idea is, what I'm getting across to you is that he looked inside, and he brought out what was inside to the outside. Some people loved him. Some people adored him. Other people, they didn't like him so much. In fact, my mother, when she was alive, back in the 1930s in Detroit, Michigan, she went to see him. And she wore those little saddle shoes, a poodle skirt and everything else. And to this day, I mean, my mother's in heaven now, but she always referred to, she almost swooned. She was in the front row, and she was watching him sing. She was at the concert in Detroit. It's quite a story. But he never fit into the mainstream. He did it his way. Why do you think he wrote that song? I did it my way. Barrymores, Jim Carrey, Julia Roberts, Lauren Bacall, Marlon Brando, Cary Grant, everybody, all those famous names, past and present, they all did it their way. They all did not want to fit into the mainstream. They all did it their own unique way as dictated by their heart. This is what I'm trying to get at. Why do you think these names, these legends, stand out? They stand out above every other name on the planet. Why is that in the acting industry? Because they didn't fit into the mainstream. They sought what was inside. What I'm trying to say to you today is, what's inside of you? What makes you unique from everybody else? Is it because you want to become an actor, a singer, a dancer? No, no. There's a lot of wannabes out there that never really step out on stage or get in front of a camera. Why? I don't know. There's various reasons. There's stage fright, there is feeling that you're not enough, imposter syndrome, all those things that they allow to keep them from their destiny. I help people like that. I help people every day that are struggling to become great actors and get paid to do with what they love to do. But you're different. I know you are, because you're watching this. And if you watched up till this point, I got news for you. You have something unique inside of you, something that doesn't fit into the mainstream, something that, well, does it disagree with your parents, with your family, with the people at school? Think about that. Your dream is to become an actor. Your dream is to become a very famous actor and live the life that you've always wanted to live. No matter what your age, it doesn't matter, okay? You can start right now. But does it agree with everybody? No. It didn't for Bette Davis, it didn't for William Shakespeare or Frank Sinatra or Marlon Brando or the different various peoples that I've mentioned so far. So fitting into the mainstream is a way of destroying your career and destroying your life. It is. Because just think for a minute. Just think just 1 minute. Follow me here. Close your eyes. Got it? Okay, I'm opening mine because I'm talking to you. But close your eyes and think about this for a minute. What if, whatever age you're at, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, okay, you're still alive. What if you pushed it aside to that calendar that doesn't exist? Someday, David, I'm going to do this and that. No, it's not going to happen. There is no someday, right? So, what if you just disregarded it? Honestly, how would you feel? How would you feel? And be totally honest with yourself, because lying to yourself is really stupid, okay? Be honest with what's inside of you, with your divine destiny. What if you just no, because I don't know what people will think. I don't know if my parents would approve. I don't know if, it would be a secure thing, the excuses just, don't live a life of excuses. It's not a life at all, it's existence. Okay? Don't fit into the mainstream wherever your mainstream happens to be. What is your mainstream? Ask yourself that today. What is your mainstream? Where everybody else is going downstream? Sort of like salmon. You know anything about salmon? Number one, it's really tasty. Number two, salmon, they swim against the stream. They swim upstream to lay their eggs. Think about that. They swim upstream to lay their eggs so they can leave a legacy. Do you know what happens when they go upstream and they finally lay their eggs? They die. They die. Yeah. But they had a mission instinctively that God gave them. What a lesson in nature that God gave us. You're a salmon, right? And say, for instance, you're swimming upstream. And ordinary fish are swimming with the current, okay? Dead fish do that very well, by the way. They go with the current. But you're swimming upstream. And you're passing your brother, sister, uncle, nephews, and your family, and your lineage, and your friends, and your coworkers. And you're swimming upstream, and they go, what are you doing? Everybody's going this way. The mainstream is here. It's easy. No, I have a mission. And I am going to get up there to lay my eggs to make a new life for myself, right? Before my life is over. Good luck with that. We're going this way, right? Where do you want to be? Do you want to swim with the ordinary fish, going down the mainstream? Or do you want to find out what's inside of you, like the various people that I've mentioned? Do you want to go upstream? You're going to face a lot of, currents. I'll put it that way. You're going to face a lot of currents from a lot of beliefs, a lot of people that will tell you it's not worth it. It's not, it's not worth it. Life is too short. Exactly. I remember once when I was preparing to move to New York City from Michigan. And at the time I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a car. I took the bus to the library just 3 or 4 times a week. Why? because I wanted to study up on New York City. I wanted to be prepared. I had a vision. I was swimming upstream, and I met one of my coworkers up there at the time, and I got to talk with her and things like that, and I told her very exuberantly, I said, I'm moving to Manhattan, I'm moving to New York, you know? And you know what she said to me? She goes, hold it. She goes like this, well, have a great time being homeless. And I kind of just walked away. It's like, number one, what a dumb, ignorant thing to say, as well as cruel, okay? She wasn't listening to her heart, obviously. I don't know what was going on with her, but you know what? To this day, I still remember that, and I don't remember her name, I don't know where she is, but I want to thank her for saying that, because that helped me swim upstream to New York City. And I wasn't homeless. I found a place in New Jersey, and I traveled to New York City, 45 minutes on the train. I had actually 2 trains to Manhattan to seek out my dream to become an actor. And it went very, very, very well. And for various personal reasons, I moved back to Michigan. But my point of that story is that I didn't want to go in the mainstream. Going down the mainstream is easy, okay? Do you think it was hard for Johnny Depp at all to live as a teenager under a Hollywood bridge in California? Number one, that's really dangerous. You don't know what's going to happen. And he was hungry. He was starving. Talk about bravery. Wow. You know? And everybody that I've mentioned in this video, look them up. Look them up on Wikipedia. Look them up on biography.com. Get to know these kind of people that the social media plasters all over the place, and they give the illusion that they are mainstream, don't they? You know, tabloids and Facebook and just news all over the place. And it gives the illusion that they are in the mainstream. I'll tell you why. Because they earn those names, those people, they give paychecks to the social media, to the tabloid people, because they have something to post. And so they plaster it all over the place. Think about that. These people that you hear about all the time, the famous actors, actresses, and performers, they're out there because they're not mainstream. And how? I'm leaving you with this. Because they're not mainstream, that's why they stand out. Now to you, actors, actresses, what makes you unique? What makes you swim upstream while everybody else is going downstream? I applaud you. And I say good going and keep going. If you need help to find out the uniqueness inside of you, to bring it out so you can shine for God, shine for yourself, shine for other people. If you want a fulfilling acting career, give me a call, give me a jingle. 𝐷avidThompsonCoaching.co, 𝐷avidThompsonCoaching.co. Because you too can be on a marquee. Not everybody is on a marquee. Are you getting what I'm putting out? Good. Write to me. 45-minute free coaching consultation I will give you, and then we'll see what happens next. But I want to help you. I've helped many actors and actresses get their start. So I can, if I can't help you, I'll find someone who can. All right? So visit me on my website, subscribe to this channel, like and share, and I appreciate you guys so much. God bless. Enjoy your day and swim upstream.